Spencer County High School, and thank you for joining us on our first episode of the Digital Den for the 2024-2025 school year. Joining us today is freshman and junior counselor, Ms. Speakman. Ms. Speakman, how are you?
I am doing great. How are you all?
I'm doing good.
Good. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to be the first person on the Digital Den. Woohoo!
Ms. Speakman, we really wanted to make this episode a source of information for the class of 2028. So what is one thing the freshmen for this year need to know?
Well, there's a couple of things that I would recommend as far as going into your first year. I've spoke to them during orientation and things of that nature, but the big part is something that I will always say is what you do your freshman year. It could affect your senior year, your junior year, especially like for those that want to go co-op or if you need to keep up with your grades. That's a huge change from middle school to high school, is that those grades stay with you. So like if you fail freshman English, you still got to recover that before you can graduate. So that's one of the big things that I definitely think is a huge key factor to remember. I also think that utilize your resources, and what I mean by that is like utilize your teachers, utilize all of the activities that we offer after school to get that help. Utilize me, utilize the administrators, just so that you have that extra assistance.
And what should a student do if they wanted to change out of their current pathway?
So right now, especially if you are a freshman, we're asking that you stay put in those pathways because you ultimately chose it. And we want you to foresee how it goes the rest of the year. Now, if you are like a junior or a senior and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, I need to discuss some things, obviously that's by a person basis, but right now schedule changes are not happening. So my suggestion would be, especially as a freshman, stay put and you might end up loving it.
And we asked the freshman class to share some questions they had, and this one came up a lot. Why not just have 8 periods and make advisory 4th period?
So that's a really good question. Advisory is going to become a place where hopefully year to year you will stay with that same group. We would love for year to year you stay with that same teacher. Then that way you have an extra person in the building. So because your English teacher may not always stay the same every year, but that advisory teacher would. Also, I think that would add additional work, right? We don't want 8 classes. You just want to keep it 7. But that advisory is a place for you to kind of check and connect with the teacher and do things in there that will help you build your confidence as you keep going.
And what if a freshman or any other student wanted to change their schedule?
So per our policy, you have 8 days. And so that was last Friday, which was August 16th. So there's no more changes. We are on day 10. So we want you in your classes, we want you learning, we want you doing all those things. So no more changes.
Now, another question from the class of 2028. If our cell phone is misplaced or stolen from the pouch, who's responsible for that?
It's a great question. First off, you could avoid all of those things by not bringing your phone to school. Second off, I feel like that would be an administrator question, such as Mr. Phillips, Ms. Noel, or Dr. McCullough, because they would have to handle that on the disciplinary side versus me, because I'm not your disciplinarian.
And what's your advice for freshmen who want to get involved more?
I think it is one of the biggest things that you can do in high school. In some way, shape, or form, you should be involved. And what I mean by that is like whether you're in a club, whether you do sports, whether it's just going to Bears in Overtime. Bears in Overtime starts August 22nd, which can help you with all of your academic needs, but they also have like extra things that they do, extra activities. I think being involved makes or breaks your high school experience. So my suggestion is get involved, and if you don't know, I believe our upperclassmen would guide you in the direction of which way you need to go. With me being new myself, I feel like I'm still learning, so I would definitely direct asking upperclassmen how they got involved.
And one last question from the freshman class. What is the best way to stay out of trouble and stay on top of your work?
Let's see. I would say that in high school, there's a lot of directions you could take. So my suggestion would be if you feel like it's a wrong decision, you feel like it's the wrong way to go, stay away from it. But staying on top of your schoolwork is going to be the best. I would ask your teachers for help. The more you ask, the more they're going to know that you need it. You can't just stay in the back of the classroom and get an F and never ask questions, right? So we got to make sure we're staying on top of that. I would just follow the rules. I feel like Spencer County is very black and white. Like, you either do it or you don't. And if you do it, then you're in trouble. So just follow the rules, do what you're good at, and stay on top of everything.
Ms. Speakman, thank you so much for joining us today. Is there any other advice you'd like to give to anyone?
Yes. So my quote that I always say is, work hard now, play later. And I will always say that because as a freshman, sophomore, junior, put in that time, put in that work so that when you become a senior, you don't have to worry, did I make all my credits? All of those things. One more thing I do want to throw in is that this year we're doing something different with semesters. So semesters is going to look way different for everyone in this building, not just freshmen. You have the first 18 weeks. So let's say you're in English 1A. You have the first 18 weeks, and if you fail those 18 weeks, you get a fresh start come January. So if you failed those first 18 weeks, then you'll recover just that section, not the whole class. But the reason I'm telling you that is because if you fail certain things, you might only have to make up a semester of it, okay? The other thing is that 9-week mark is right before fall break. That's when grades will go out. And then you have another 9 weeks right after fall break, and that's when your final grade of that semester. So just keep up with all the grade checks and keep up your grades.
Thank you so much for tuning in on the Digital Den. Be sure to like our Instagram and subscribe down below so you don't miss any more episodes.